think we're live, Doggaroo. I think we're live. All right. Oop, got the wrong thing on. I was watching the Lotus Eaters. All right. Let's get that. And then we get this so we can see everybody's comments. And I think we're good. Let's just make sure the sound's okay here. That. And then we get... All right. We're good. We're good. Welcome to a Piney Podcast. All things South Jersey. And we usually end up talking about screenwriting anyway. Now, Sunday, next week, I will be in Tom's River for a comic book show, the Jersey Shore comic book show. That's at the Tom's River Elk Lodge. So, might do the live stream on Saturday instead. I'll try to remember to promote it. I forgot to promote the live stream this week. Oh, I think I did it like on Monday. I always remember too close to the actual date and then whatever. But usually about 2 p.m. on Sunday, I'm hitting it. Definitely in the wintertime when I got no shows. So today we're doing the Piney Podcast. And is Joan in the shot? I didn't even check. Yeah, she's in the shot. Okay. All right. So I found some Jersey headlines. We'll get into them. I did my review of Gun Maverick. Again, go see it. It was really good. Went to, the hell was it? Hamilton Township Theater. And that was a bit of an issue for me and my friend to meet there. He's like, oh man, I'll buy the tickets. Let's go. And I'm like, okay. So he does the online thing for Hamilton. The only problem is there's a Hamilton, Alabama with the same chain. He ends up ordering the tickets in Hamilton, Alabama. Well, as it turns out, as long as you're in the same chain, they can make that work. They gave him the tickets at the other Hamilton place. And they said, oh, we'll just email Alabama and get our money. Or get your money. I was like, wow, that's really great. So there are some advantages to a big chain like that. I mean, that's convenience. And it partly, I mean, obviously it's my friend's fault for not paying attention to the internet, but, a lot of places have similar names. So there's a Hamilton, Alabama. There's a Hamilton 8 there. And we were at the Regal in Hamilton Township. And then there's the Hamilton Mall, which is further south, which I kind of thought he was at first because he vacations down at the Jersey Shore. I was all set to go down south. And thankfully we got our wires uncrossed by then. And so we saw Top Gun. It was great. And then I like to go to a diner afterwards to pick apart the movie. And there was literally a diner like a block away. 24 hours, it says on the internet, and it's closed. We get there and the guys are closing up. Ridiculous. Ridiculous in New Jersey. All-night diners is a thing in New Jersey, especially on the weekends. If it's not all night, then it's definitely, the diners usually open till 2 or 3 because the bars will let out. People are drunk. They're looking to get some food before they go home. They've been out all night. So usually some places will hang on till about 2 or 3. Or they'll say 2, but they're really open till 3. 2 o'clock is when they start to go, oh, don't come in. But this place closed up. We were there while they were closing up. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And then we were looking for another diner, and there wasn't one. The closest other one was like in another state. Now, granted, we were near the border, but we didn't want to go across a river to get to a damn diner in New Jersey. And part of this is the pandemic of unknown origin, YouTube. I'm talking about some nameless pandemic. Anyhow, a lot of diners and restaurants closed during that time, and they fell on hard times. A lot of them haven't reopened in the state of New Jersey. I forget what the statistic was. It was pretty high. I want to say like 43%, something like that. of mom and pop restaurants, and a lot of them are diners too. The Greeks, a lot of them run the diners around here, and they're really good at it. I mean, I don't know what it is about Greek people and diners. They seem to thrive in that environment. Anyhow, a lot of them have fallen on hard times because it was just so tough. But, the ones that are really good survived, I think, a lot of times. One of my favorites locally is the Meadow, if you've ever been there. Meadow Diner. It's on Route 168, the Black Horse Pike. And I was really worried about them because they're kind of small. They're not a super large diner, but very classic, kind of diner. They still have a salad bar. I don't know if they have it now, but before the pandemic, they had a salad bar, which was going away anyway. I assume they're all gone now because of a pandemic of unknown origin. But just a great place. I think I told the story one time. I went there and I got a gyro, and the guys in the back put sour cream on it instead of tzatziki sauce. I guess they were out of tzatziki's and they figured I wouldn't notice. I'm eating it going, something wrong with this. But the manager was so nice, gave us a free, covered our bill. That's what you do when you're in business. A customer has a problem like that and you make a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake. And then somebody in the back should get at least yelled at. Anyhow. But speaking of New Jersey, let's get into the New Jersey headlines. Trump is moving from Mar-a-Lago to New Jersey for the summer, and congressional Republicans are already following him. Okay. So, good. I don't blame him for leaving Florida this time of year. It must be, freaking oppressive. Oppressive. The very air itself. He will be living in his Bedminster, New Jersey golf course ahead of the midterms. Yeah, and look, Florida's definitely got some great things going on, especially now with DeSantis running things, but it is kind of a big, swampy state. A lot of it's it seems to me, far from metropolises, let's say. Whereas New Jersey, you're never far from a city. You really aren't. We have a few big cities in New Jersey, especially up north where he is, Bedminster. But even in South Jersey, we're never far from Philadelphia. I mean, it's fourth largest city? Fourth or fifth. It kind of fluctuates now. And of course, you're up North Jersey, you're never that far from New York City. And there are so many highways around here, especially up north. There's a reason they call New Jersey two things: the Garden State, which is true down south, and the Corridor State, which is mainly true up north, because there are so many freaking highways. And the running gag is you don't stop in New Jersey; you're just driving through. At least up north, because it's just so overdeveloped in a lot of places, unfortunately, which is why the taxes are so high, and on and on and on. Of course, it doesn't hurt that we have too many Democrats. Speaking of which, New Jersey's officials, Democrat Phil Murphy improperly gave $10 million in coronavirus funds to illegal aliens. Now just imagine what $10 million means to you. Okay? And now imagine you've got a guy in charge who, in my view, is so contemptuous of the people he works for that he's willing to give $10 million away illegally, improperly, let's say, I guess not illegally, to people who broke the law to get into this country, and just give it away. Like it's nothing, like it's a rounding error. Now, can you imagine Phil Murphy discovering one day, he checks his many, many millions of dollars. Oh my God, I'm missing $10 million. And then his accountant says, well, I gave it to some illegal aliens to help them. I don't think he'd be like, oh, okay. Oh, we've got people in here. Walrus, just about. Visiting Walrus, a nice retirement. JEC probably want to go back to New York, but he made the big huff about leaving, so he's got too much pride to move back to New York proper. Yeah, who the hell wants to live in New York? Visiting Walrus. Hey Tony D and Little Joe. Joan says bark. So thanks for joining us, guys. Sorry, I didn't see your comments right away. Okay. So wrapped up into my blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, if I was Trump, I wouldn't go back to New York right now. Holy cow. First off, the government there is so openly hostile towards them, they'd probably throw him right in jail. Or attempt to. The only reason I think he's got a reason to go is because of all his massive real estate holdings. But it's really his company, When you run a company that big, it's not like you have to be there. But, I mean, Trump was the king of New York real estate for a long time. I mean, he had the high profile. He was buying and selling buildings. He owns, look at the list of crazy buildings he owns in New York. It's nuts. Not to mention the fact that that's where he got bugged, right? They bugged Trump Tower, and I'm sure nobody in New York and the New York government's going to prosecute anybody for doing that. It's highly illegal. I believe in New York. I think New York, in terms of wiretapping, it may be a two-party state. I know in New Jersey it's a one-party state. So, one person, which means it's a stupid law. The one-party state means that one person has to be aware it's being tape recorded. So, in other words, if you have a phone call and you want to tape the guy, you could do it as long as you're aware of it. So, it's just so stupid. But like in California, I believe it's a two-party state. I'm not sure on New York, but you can bet if they wiretap the mayor, and it was illegal in any way, it was improper in any way. Oh my God, they'd lower the boom on you in New York. But visiting Walrus, I think the fact that you have states might save the U.S. Yes, it will. It always kind of does, because that was one of the ideas of the founders, was to have all these sort of mini countries that are doing different things, and at some point the other states or mini countries see what the other countries are doing that's working, and they adopt it too. Was the idea. Excuse me. Because some things, it's like probably the best example right now is legalizing marijuana, right? I mean, it's something that it's so ridiculous it's taking this long. Walrus, because you can compare and contrast, yes. It's so ridiculous that it's taking so long for states to come around to legalizing marijuana. New Jersey just did it. Although the laws here surrounding it, I know a kid who sold pot, and he's just like, oh, it's not going to hurt my business at all. In fact, the price is going up, and I'm making even more money. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Because all the heavy regulations, heavy-handed regulations, of course, from Phil Murphy. But the other states are finally going, oh yeah, we should just legalize this. They're making all kinds of money. They're taxing the hell out of it. Now, I'm a libertarian. I don't think you should tax it at all, but Walrus, yeah, because you can never know what the actual outcome of a policy will be. Right, especially downstream. I'm still sort of shocked that didn't happen with prostitution, because Nevada legalized prostitution. I guess the only reason they legalized it is because Las Vegas was so insanely out of hand, and Reno too, and some of these other gambling cities, that prostitution was so prevalent, they just said, oh, we got to legalize it. But you'd think they do it in New Jersey with Atlantic City. JEC, up in Canada, we have more weak stores than Starbucks at this point. What are weak stores? Are they stores that aren't very strong, or stores that are, does that mean like day of the week store? Week stores. Not sure what you mean. Is it like a Quick Check? Or down here we have Wawa. That's our go-to store in South Jersey, Wawa. I know it sounds like what's the name? Helen Keller trying to talk to you. Weed stores. Oh, weed stores. Sorry. In Canada, we have much more weed stores than Starbucks at this point. Yeah, I could see that. No offense, but it sounds like it sucks in Canada because it's always wintertime. It's so cold. I'd get high all the time, too. But you do have Tim Hortons, so there's that. Yeah, but don't get me wrong, it sucks in New Jersey, too. But I'm not against the weed stores. I'm all for them. I just don't like this heavy-handed regulation, because we had heavy-handed regulation for liquor stores here. We have liquor stores, which is so idiotic, I cannot tell you. For years, I didn't understand. I went to New York. I went to college in New York, and I was like in a mini mart, and I'm like, oh my God, there's beer here. There must be a mistake. And they're like, no, you can buy beer in a store in New York. In New York, one of the most overly regulated states in the Union. But New Jersey, no, you need a special liquor store license to sell liquor. So liquor store license here are a thing. Like, to get a liquor license, it requires an act of God. It costs an insane amounts of money. And Walrus, plus Ricky and Julian, they sell a lot of weed. Yes. Trailer Park Boys. That's everybody in Canada, right, JEC? Ricky and Julian. Yeah, there was a bar near my folks, and it had a liquor license from, like, I don't know, the 60s, I guess. And it never worked as a bar. And they tried to reopen it a bunch of times. JEC, Tim Hortons has been terrible for years now. They sold out to an American corporation and they bastardized the menu. Even the coffee sucks now. Really? I just got a Tim Hortons near me, which I guess is part of the Americanization. It was okay. To me, it wasn't as good as Starbucks, but was a step up above from Dunkin' Donuts. I like their donuts better. I'll say that. Dunkin' Donuts, I eat their donuts and I feel like they are physically hurting me. Like, it maybe took 2 minutes off my life if I eat a Dunkin' Donuts donut. I won't eat them anymore, by the way. They have such a terrible aftertaste. Tim Hortons I didn't feel like they were good for me, but I didn't feel too terrible afterwards. And then, of course, if you go to a local bakery around here that makes donuts, like Jack's Donuts, which is like down the street from my house, basically, it's fantastic. Oh, they make homemade donuts. You eat them and you feel good. I know. I mean, not that you're like eating health food, but like you don't feel sick. You don't feel like that. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. It feels like a sickness when you eat certain processed foods, to me. It's just like, I ate that thing and now I feel terrible. Whereas Jack Donuts, man, I eat it and I go, oh, that was so good. And then I'm on my way. Again, not that it's health food, but it's homemade. It tastes like, an actual human being made it, as opposed to, I don't know, a machine somewhere. Visiting Walrus, homemade fresh is the best. It certainly is. It certainly is. But anyhow, Phil Murphy is a moron, and I don't like him, and this is more evidence that he's stupid. He wants to run for president, by the way. I don't think he stands a chance in hell. He'll be one of the Dems that runs and then tries to make a deal to get into the mix. Like Buttigieg. JEC, I'm never eating at Tim Hortons again. They were asking for proof of vax before they even mandated it, so screw them. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I was kind of that way with Starbucks, but I do have some gift certificates, and there's kind of no other game in town in terms of getting what I want from them. I mean, so many places around here in New Jersey were cucks, vax cucks, I guess you'd call them. And, for Starbucks, they're just so stupid in general anyway. I mean, I should have banned them a long time ago, but, my go-to was sort of Tim Hortons. I have a friend, and our thing was to go to Starbucks. But he's really fussy about where we go. So I was trying to get him to go to Tim Hortons since it's like so close to my house, number one. And number two, mainly because it was close to my house, and I don't like to drive a lot. And the Starbucks we used to hang out at got torn down. Believe it or not, they actually tore down a Starbucks, which is weird. But I don't know where else to go at this point. I mean, I just want a place to sit down and have my iced tea and, yell about politics. I guess that's this now. I don't have my iced tea. I just brewed it. It's a little warm. This is seltzer. It's good for the throat. Walrus, are you on Discord or anything? Would love to have a chat one day. I'm a Lotus Eater member, obviously. Discord. Yes. I am on Discord. I went on Based Apes Discord. Send me a link. I can't really do too much chatting today. I'm actually on a hard deadline at 3 today. What time is it? 3-ish. I gotta go help my dad make his wine. But, sure. I am on there some. I'm never on it, though. I mean, there's like so many social medias. I can't keep track of them all. Jeremy at the Quartering's pretty far ahead of the curve on that. His new thing is he was on Discord. Now he's on something called Gilded. That's another one. I can't keep track of all these. I really can't. And Twitch and all these others. StreamYard, which I was using, but this works better for me. Shoot me a link sometime and see if you can catch me. One of these days I got to get back to Based Ape and see what he's up to. He's starting to do live streams now. But thank you. All right. In New Jersey beach warning, if you're ever feeling you're getting pulled into the ocean, here's what to do. So do you guys know what to do if you're pulled into the ocean? This is a big thing in New Jersey, going to the New Jersey shore. You get pulled by a rip current, and you get pulled a little bit out to sea. So the idea, and apparently these occur in low-lying areas. So now here's a rip current, apparently. Yeah, I can kind of see that because it's like it's going back out so quickly. It kind of pulls you, and it's so low. Oh, here you go. Here's the rip current. And the escape is to go like this, right down the middle here, or this way, either way. But don't go against the current. So you kind of like go down a little ways and then come back. So, but don't swim against the current. You'll wear yourself out. They don't pull you under, according to this. Swim out of the current and then to shore. If you can't escape, float or tread water. If you need help, wave for assistance. Well, that's assuming there's a lifeguard, which in New Jersey, since we have an overbearing government, you can't even swim unless there's a lifeguard. I mean, it's not like they'll pull you out of the water, but you're not supposed to be swimming anywhere where there's not a lifeguard. Most people swim where there's a lifeguard. I mean, I guess you kind of should. Not like against lifeguards or anything, but we do have a lot of wacky rules. You got to have what's called beach tags in New Jersey, which is ridiculous. You have to buy this tag and clip it to your bathing suit. And then if the tag Nazis are on the beach and you don't have it, they're like, "Oh, where's your tags? Where's your tags? Oh, you got to buy one. If you don't have it, you got to buy one or get the F out." Seriously, yeah. You have to pay to be on the beach. I I guess that pays for the lifeguard. I guess. But knowing New Jersey, I'm sure like a fraction of that goes to the lifeguards and the rest goes to the town. But in their defense, there is a problem in New Jersey with the beaches eroding, and they bring in sand and they rebuild them back up. So, I guess, I don't know. I think it's dumb to pay for a natural wonder like the ocean. Right? I think it's just dumb, but whatever. Here are 3 reasons why gas prices in New Jersey won't go down anytime soon. Walrus says, is it a rip current or RIP current? Aha, no. Rip current. As in, it'll rip you right out of it, off the shore and into the water. But, it doesn't really hurt you unless you swim against it and get tired and drown. But here, this isn't NewJersey.com. They tend to just defend Democrats all day. So, obviously, the 3 reasons why gas won't go down in New Jersey has nothing to do with Joe Biden saying, hey, let's not drill anymore and let's go green and let's force everybody to buy an electric car by raising the gas prices so they get mad and buy an electric car, because that makes sense. Because a guy like me who has no money and barely can afford the car he has, oh yeah, I'll run right out and buy a $80,000 Tesla that I can't even plug into my house without a special attachment. And as many YouTubers have pointed out, really when you buy an electric car, you are buying a coal-powered car, because the grid runs on a lot of coal here. And, you're recharging your car on coal, which isn't very environmentally friendly. On top of the fact that New Jersey, like a bunch of other states, is trying to go green. So Phil Murphy's boondoggle is he's building a giant wind farm in Salem, which isn't a totally bad idea, except if he tries to flip the switch and like, oh, let's shut down the nuclear reactors, everybody. He was the ambassador to Germany, by the way. And that's exactly what Germany did, right? They're like, oh, we're going green. We're going to shut down our nuclear reactors. Yeah, how's that going? How's that going in Germany? Not so good. Walrus, I got the option to have a plug on the outside of my house. Got to go nuclear. Yeah, just like Fallout, the nuclear cars. That would be cool, right? A nuclear car. Boy, you could drive that forever. Of course, you'd all die of radiation poisoning if you got into a major car accident, but them's the chances. So this article ties it into Russia, of course, because that's what every Democrat does. Oh, it's Russia. We got a fraction of our oil from the Russians. Obviously, it's Russians. Nuclear is more green than renewable. Yep. Right now it is, yeah. Technology is pretty good now. Should be building more nuclear. But, these people all came up. It's like I said in Wokistan, a novel. Like, they all came up in colleges where they were told over and over again, nuclear's bad. And look, in their defense, in the 70s, we had some accidents, and it was bad. It was bad, and people were scared, and they were, stepping on the gas on nuclear at the time. Maybe they were building them too fast because the technology wasn't there. I mean, there is now that the technology's better, yes, it would be better to build the nuclear plants, more of them. But back then, I don't know, because if you look at it that way, had they built more nuclear plants, say in the 70s, we'd be stuck with a lot of old-style nuclear plants that we'd have to refurbish with their pollution that we have to get rid of, and that's an issue too. There is pollution from these things, although not as much as before. And they bury it out in the desert where it causes other problems. So then they talk about, just the summer. But the idiots in Democrats in New Jersey want to provide rebates in New Jersey for gas. So in other words, they want to take it out of your own pocket, capitalism could refurbish these plants. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think the technology was there back in the 70s and 80s. I think now it's here. Although you look at the Fukushima plant, that, I don't know. But that was an older plant too, I think. At least probably back at the 80s. They probably built in the 80s. But like the Democrats want to give us a rebate, basically giving us our own money back, taxing us more to give us some of our money back. Ed Durr, the Republican who defeated Sweeney here, which was a big deal, was basically one of the big Democrats. He's a trucker who won in the New Jersey legislature. He wants to provide a tax rebate, which I like better. Not really going to solve the problem, but yeah, tax rebate, all about it. All about getting some tax money back. Fukushima got hit by a typhoon and a hurricane. I know, but I mean, well, that's a disaster. Not a disaster. I mean, it is a disaster. But I know what you're saying. It's still like, I mean, we could build more nuclear plants in New Jersey. It could be hit by a typhoon and a hurricane, and then we got a big problem. So, but again, I think Fukushima was a bit older. And I think the reactors they have now, we've been through so many situations, and probably Fukushima is another model to look at when you're building a nuclear reactor and saying, okay, what happens if, everything fails and there's a natural event like a hurricane or earthquake or whatever. Walrus, it could have been so much worse. Certainly, the guys who sacrificed themselves, the older Japanese guys who went in there, those guys are heroes. Those guys are heroes. I mean, being in your 70s and 80s and being willing to go knowing you're going to be irradiated. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, tech has moved on. Yeah, I think it has. I think now they have the technology, they use less, they have less pollution, and it's going to just keep getting better and better. But, yeah, this whole push to green energy, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against a wind farm in Salem. But, I mean, it should be a supplement at this point. The technology isn't quite there yet for wind farms. I don't think it'll ever be, really. Maybe solar, but not wind. Wind is a very finite resource, I think, and it's very unpredictable, Oh, there's Ardent Party. Aha, gotcha this time. Just watched your Top Gun Maverick review. It's a nice feeling to be excited for a movie again. Yeah. Good afternoon from Newfoundland. Good afternoon to you, sir. Joan, Arden is here. It was a really fun movie. Definitely should check it out. All right, getting into New Jersey politics. If we really want to go green, the best way is to probably go nuclear. Yep, I think we're all in agreement there. This is 3 races in New Jersey. I don't care who's running anymore. I'm just voting red. Red. Republicans have to take New Jersey. I don't care who they are. Now, everybody's blasting Ian Smith for various things he's done over the years. Problem with nuclear is if a society collapses and all these plants will melt down and everywhere around them will become inhabitable. Yeah, well, if society breaks down, I think we got bigger problems. When you talk about the breakdown of society, you're talking about, the number one thing would be nuclear war. Nuclear war, everybody's effed. Everybody's effed. The missiles, assuming you even survive, which most people won't, I'll be done. I'm in New Jersey. New Jersey gets wiped off the map. So the EMP burst will wipe out all the computers, like 99% of them, including the ones that run the nuclear plants. So there's no saving them. None. They'll all be wiped out. They'll all overload. But it won't matter. There'll be radiation everywhere anyway for hundreds of years to come. There'll be a few places that, for whatever reason, the middle of nowhere, in the perfect little valley somewhere, they'll be fine. Just because they just happen to be between, I don't know, two mountains, and they've got plenty of fresh water, and none of it got contaminated, and the fallout never reached them. You know, there'll be a couple of places, hopefully, humans will survive, and then they'll thrive, and then in a couple of 100 years, they'll be able to start moving out and restart, the world again. But if it's a nuclear war, we're all screwed. Now, a breakdown of society, in degrees, I mean, people who want society to function, you're talking about, it would have to be like, I don't know, Mad Max, where just savages take over everything and they just kill all the nuclear plant workers, and then they don't know how to run anything, and they just smash the controls with their clubs, I guess. I mean, they're going to want power. It would have to be such a breakdown, it's not going to happen in our lifetime. Maybe another 100 years of total communism, and it'll be a breakdown like I wrote about in Woke Stand, a novel, where the college just breaks down because they promote ideologues instead of actual people who could run the nuclear plant. And they're just as good as guys smashing the controls with clubs because they don't know what they're doing. Could we head towards that? Yeah, maybe in like 100 years. But I don't think so. I think the pushback is here. And the part of the pushback is turning New Jersey red. I'm all about turning New Jersey red. I don't care about you Democrats anymore. You all have to go. You all have to go. There's no good ones left, in my view. You're done. None of you have spoken out. Where are the Democrats who stand up and say, this is stupid? What we're doing is really, really stupid, and I'm against it. There's been like a handful of people here and there, but ultimately, Democrats are top down, and I think they've been in power too long. They're very corrupt. Now, in New Jersey, we kind of flip-flop back and forth in various cycles, but we've always been towards the end of the cycle with the Democrats because we always get incredibly corrupt Democrats. It's a very short cycle to corruption where the Democrats get thrown out and the Republicans get back in. The problem is we get rhinos and corrupt Republicans like Chris Christie, in my view. Chris Christie was a Republican. Did he do any good things? Kind of, sort of accidentally, but mostly he was terrible. He was mostly terrible. He just wasn't, the Democrats are so terrible, they actively destroy things whether they realize it or not because they're so terrible at economics. The Republicans that are terrible, they're terrible too, but their ideology drives them to be not as terrible because their ideology is about mostly individualism. So it stops them from doing certain things. The Democrats, you haven't seen their full thing yet. And their thing really is socialism and thereby communism. They really want that now. Before, it was just a pipe dream. Back in the 80s, it was a pipe dream that the Democrats would have socialism. We'd laugh at them. Ha ha ha. Now they're full-blown, oh yes, we need socialism. Of course we do. They're mainly socialists they're like AOC now. They're like, oh, I'm not really a socialist, but I admire them. I was a member of the DSA, but now I'm a Democrat. Meaning that they're really socialists, but they would love to be like Europe. They would love it. And they push for it all the time behind the scenes. So they have to go. In New Jersey, it's particularly bad with the taxes here. I can't really afford to live here at all, but I managed to survive. So we've got these three races in New Jersey. Ian is one of the main lightning rods. Ian Smith, he is a vaccine mandate opponent. Good for him. A lockdown defier from Atlas Jim, if you remember that story. So for that, I totally dig him. Now, he's had some problems, apparently, but some of those problems may have been astroturfed by the media. I'm not 100% sure. At this point, I don't care. Because the media is against him. The Democrat establishment is against him. I'm fine with voting for Ian. I don't care what he's done. As long as he's going to vote for the things that I want, like not locking down, like not mandating vaccines or masks on children or anybody else, yeah, sign me up. I couldn't endorse him more than like 100%. I don't care. Like the guy he's running against used to run a horror punk rock band, which sounds cool, but yeah, no, not interested in you because you're a Democrat. I don't care. Andy Kim is a 2-term incumbent who I can't stand. He was the guy who during the January 6th thing, he came out, he's a Democrat, he came out afterwards and he picked up the water bottles, the empty water bottles, like, I don't know, like he was picking up children's bodies in a war zone, and he tried to donate his suit to the Smithsonian because it was such an important historical moment when Andy Kim picked up some trash in the Congressional Hall because the January 6th rioters, I gotta be careful what I'm saying here, the January 6th thing was so egregious to these people that, you know, it was such a historical moment. I better not go down this path any further. Anyhow, yeah, I hope Andy Kim loses. So whoever's running against him, go. And this is Burlington. It's a very poor area in Burlington, a lot of places. Some of it's rich that he represents. It has been redrawn, though. It's now a heavily Republican district. So there's a good chance he's going to get booted. And finally, the third one is in deep South Jersey. Represent. The 6'6" tall cowboy hat wearing Tim Alexander, 56, a former prosecutor under Philadelphia District Attorney Seth Williams and longtime investigator, is running. And good. I hope he wins. And they've got a woman running against Jeff Van Drew, and they really want to get rid of Van Drew. Van Drew is the Democrat here who flipped to Republican, and he got reelected once. So I guess it's time for him to get reelected again. Anyhow, good. I hope they all win. I hope every Republican wins every race all over the country. That's how sick I am of Democrats. I don't care. Get rid of the Democrats. Punish them. Punish them politically so we send a message to future generations, never ever do this again. And when I mean this, I mean all the things the Democrats have been doing recently. They're such a laundry list to mention. JEC says Ontario or provincial election, Rob Ford's brother Doug got a second term as premier. He destroyed Ontario, but his opponents promised to double down on all the lockdown stuff that destroyed it. What? So is Doug against that? Or is it just that he's kind of for it and they're just kind of for doubling it? Jesus, what a terrible choice that must be if that's the case. And which guy smoked all the crack? Was that Rob or Doug? Because one of them smoked the crack, right? Yeah, that's Canada. Don't envy those choices. We had the crack-smoking mayor of D.C. Oh, come on, pop-ups. I gotta move this thing along. Camden County, New Jersey officials hope latest rabies case is not Groundhog Day. Oh my God. A groundhog killed by a family dog in the backyard has tested positive for rabies. Oh, Jesus. Aside from the dog, the county said there's no other human or animal exposures to the groundhog. Oh, man, that's terrible. Arden says, nah, Doug is a lesser Easel. That was Rob. Okay. I thought it was Rob. So did they have to kill the dog? The dog was up to date on vaccines, rabies. Oh, good. But received a booster shot and will be kept under observation. Well, that makes sense. Because, I mean, geez, if he killed a groundhog, he must have ate its blood. Oh, Doug is lesser evil. Okay. Cecil, you wrote, but yeah, it's one typo. Oh my God. See, Joan has nearly cornered the groundhog a couple of times. Fortunately, the groundhog always escapes before, and I'm always watching because you can't let him get too close. If Joan gets too close or she gets bit, oh, we're going right to the vet. She's come close to capturing the squirrels, but fortunately, I always go out there with her because Joan's too little. The hawks could get her, but this is not good if the groundhog was rabid, because we do have a neighborhood groundhog. You got to keep an eye on your pets. Yeah, you got wild animals. New Jersey aims to implement environmental justice law by December 31st. Oh, Jesus. This will be a disaster. Oh, by the way, plastic bags have been banned here, which is a nightmare, because we used to always get, this was a thing in New Jersey, you'd go to the store and you'd have like 6 to 8 plastic bags as you're walking to your car or walking back to your house or apartment or whatever, and that's how we got stuff. Now we've been forced to use reusable bags. I don't know I was fine with paper bags, by the way. I like paper bags. I'd rather have paper. They're useful in a lot of different ways. Plastic bags, I didn't like them so much. But the banning of the bags has already happened. So if you go to a supermarket in New Jersey, what you'll see a lot these days are people who forgot their bags. So they say, screw it. They go into the supermarket, they buy all their crap, they put it back in the cart, no bags, and then they go to their car, and I've already done this twice, I think. And then they just put all the stuff in their car, and they'll say, screw it, I'll just take it out of the car when I get home. So imagine just like your back seat full of loose groceries. And that's what we do in New Jersey now, thanks to these yahoos and their ridiculous push for green. Ardent, I used to get paid to cull prairie dogs in Alberta. Wow, what a job. Oh, you killed them. I cull, for a second there I thought, oh, he had to sterilize prairie dogs? No, he was shooting them with a .22. A .22 does a dandy job on varmints. Wait, New Jersey's anti-gun, is it? Yeah, it's pretty anti-gun. Well, it depends on where you are. I'll explain one sec. JEC, paper paid bags are much heavier to transfer. I know, but I like them. You can put more stuff in them. And they sometimes make them with handles. I mean, it depends on what you put in them. The only downside of paper is if they get wet. If they get wet, you're screwed. Which is a problem with certain items. But to get to and from your car and to and from the car to the house, the nice thing about paper bags is they're recyclable. And if you're doing a barbecue or something, you need something to start kindling or your charcoal, you just tear it up and put it underneath the charcoal and light the bag. Or you light your fireplace. You tear up a shopping bag, put it in there. When I was a kid, we used to use them as book covers. We would turn the shopping bag inside out and cover our textbooks with them and tape them to the textbook. And then you had a nice blank book cover that kept the book nice, and then you could write on them. So, but yeah, shooting prairie dogs in Alberta. That sounds like a Canadian cowboy. But yeah, New Jersey is pretty anti-gun. In South Jersey, it's a little different because it's more rural. We do have a tremendous amount of gunning clubs, hunting clubs, and so it's not as anti-gun. The pushback against the anti-gunners is definitely down here in the South, but because North Jersey controls everything, it's sort of a uphill battle. Ardent, LOL, keep bags in the car. I keep bags in the car, occasionally forget to bring them in the store. Usually bring the cart out and transfer them to the bag return cart. Like a good citizen, yeah. I don't know. It's just stupid. I just want bags. I want bags in the store, disposable bags in the store. I use them for my trash. And I'm running out of plastic bags. I don't know what I'm going to do for my trash. Again, the paper bags are perfect for that because they're biodegradable and they bury them with the trash. Walmart up here banned plastic bags in their stores, but they still sell boxes and plastic bags by the cash out. Yeah, and people who don't care about money, and there are a lot of people like that, or they're just making enough money, they waste it all the time. They will go to the store every single time and buy those disposable bags. They're only 50 cents, and they're stupid. So they'll just buy them every time, and they're accumulating tons of these bags at home, and they don't even want them. And they just throw them out. So it's dumb. I hate the bag law. It's stupid. And I hate all this, which I'm sure is stupid. I'm sure they're going to ban a whole bunch of stuff. This is why we need Republicans in office, so they'll stop all this climate idiocy. I want them to all stop this. I want every Republican to vote against this. And I want Republicans. Ardent, LOL, yeah, I bounced in a couple of cowboy bars. Nothing spells trouble like a big belt buckle. Nice. New Jersey might be running out of teachers. Here's what they're doing about it. I hope firing more of them because homeschooling would be better. But, yeah, let's see what they're doing here. There's a pilot program approved by the State Board of Education in connection with a new law enacted last year. It creates a new limited certificates that will allow would-be teachers to be hired even if they missed one of the typical requirements to qualify, such as high enough grade point average or passing score on a state test. Well, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible on its surface. I thought it would be like, well, we're gonna allow some parents to teach things or people with experience. No, we're just gonna lower the standards of the teachers, and then we'll get more teachers. We'll get more crappy teachers. New Jersey, homeschool your kids or take over the school board. That would be the number one thing. Take over the school boards. Take over the school boards and do everything you can to de-unionize the place. Get rid of CRT. Get rid of all this woke crap from your schools. All of it. But these are New Jersey schools. They're terrible. In my view, they're terrible. So, I don't want to go on and on about education in New Jersey. I'll go crazy. Opinion article. Amazon stumble stubs South Jersey toe. And this is a weird opinion piece raging against Jeff Bezos, who he's not even CEO anymore, I don't think. I think he's taken a back seat. Arden says, have you seen What is a Woman? Watched it with some friends last night. I will teach before I let my kids go to school. Yeah, I have not seen it. I've seen a lot of clips. I really do want to see it, but I don't want to buy a subscription to Daily Wire. I can't afford another subscription. I can't even afford the ones I have. I'm thinking about getting rid of those, and it's like another one. So I may rent it if they allow it like a one-time rental thing. I would love to see it. I've seen a lot of clips. It looks great. It probably just validates all the stuff I already know, but I mean, Matt Walsh is very entertaining. Basically, Amazon's cutting back, and now everybody's going to pile on Jeff Bezos for cutting back on jobs when it's not his fault the economy's going into the crapper. His company's great in my view, but he's not. I don't even think he's running it totally anymore. He's not the head muckety muck, is my understanding. South Jersey pools and beaches and summer camps struggle to find lifeguards. Yeah, I guess that just means they're going to raise the beach tag fee. Again, find some lifeguards. I mean, how hard is it to be a lifeguard at a pool? I assume you, but see, like real lifeguards, they have to be able to swim quite a distance. So I get it, but I don't know. At a pool, seems like you would just need to know CPR and be able to, jump in a pool and go save somebody. Ardent says, I think you can buy or rent it. Oh, good. I am going to rent it. I do want to see that. What is a Woman? by the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, if you haven't heard about it. I did a trailer thing on it. Yeah, I mean, what do they get paid? $13, $35, and $15 per hour, depending on experience. Candidates must hold lifeguard, first aid, and CPR certifications. That's a lot of certifications. Look, I understand, you know, if you're a lifeguard in an ocean, yeah, you got to be top notch because you got to swim possibly a good quarter of a mile to save somebody. And you should be able to swim like crazy if you're a lifeguard in an ocean. In a pool, I mean, certainly first aid and CPR. Yeah, definitely CPR, obviously, and first aid. But I don't know if you need the full... I mean, there should probably be different tiers, right? Like pool lifeguard versus ocean lifeguard or lake lifeguard, I would say. I mean, how you just don't have to swim that far in a pool. In Ewing, New Jersey, cop risked her life to rescue dog from burning building. Joan, a dog. A dog was saved by a cop from a burning building, Joan. Yeah, she doesn't care. But that's nice. Good on you, cop. A little bit of a white pill for you. Here's New Jersey legal weed in full swing, but still no rules for detecting if workers are high on the job. I just assumed they all were. I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just assume they're all just high as balls? JEC saw a screenshot from Twitter. Believe all women was trending, and right below it, what is a woman was trending at the same time. Oh yeah. It looks great. It looks great. It also looks uncomfortable too. When he talks to that one, what does she call herself? Gender affirming caregiver or whatever it is. It's uncomfortable. She is clearly, in my view, delusional about her views. And look, again, I don't have anything against trans people. I have a friend who's trans, but she was an adult when she transitioned, right? She was an adult, and it's an adult decision, you know? It's a very adult decision to do something that major to your body, assuming you're even going to do the drugs and the operation at all. And some don't do that either. You do the research, it's not great, you know? People have done the research that I know, and they have concluded, oh no, I'm not getting the operation or taking these hormones. They're awful. They do natural stuff, which, who cares about that? I mean, the natural stuff, it's essentially just giving you a tiny little push in one direction, you know, if you're taking herbs or whatever. Maybe they make you a little gassy, but they're not going to do permanent damage to you like some of these drugs. But anyhow, yeah, I just assume every person who works in a weed shop is just high all the time. Like, that's like half the reason they work there. Ardent, the same week Trudeau banned handguns, the province of BC legalized almost all drugs in small amounts. Well, as a libertarian, I'm totally for the legalization of drugs, but the liberals don't understand how to do it. You know, we're going to legalize a small amount. Well, that's really not going to do anything. The problem is organized crime handles the drugs, and they don't care about their customers. They don't care if they kind of care if they die because then they don't get any money. But they are only concerned about the money, and they rip off people, they cut the stuff. It's very dangerous. So if you legalized it, what would happen is there would be companies that would make legal cocaine, let's say. Oh wait, I'm getting behind here. JEC, people who do the surgery don't realize cutting off your balls kills your sex drive and dead cold. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, what do we do with dogs? So, yeah, I mean, legalizing drugs on a massive scale wouldn't necessarily put them in vending machines, but you would be able to make cocaine, let's say. Let's just go with cocaine. Cocaine's addictive. Yes. So if you're a competing company and you're making cocaine, one of the things you would try to do is make a synthetic cocaine that wasn't addictive or wasn't as addictive. Or or you'd create some sort of synthetic that would give you the same high, but didn't give you any downside, like being addicted. Or let's say you would take the drug, get high, maybe you'd be a little addicted, but you take this other drug to knock it out. That's the kind of stuff they would develop. Now, I'm not an advocate. I'm not saying we should encourage people to take drugs, but I'm saying we should make it kind of as safe as possible. And just legalizing a little bit, that's not making it safe, because it's still coming from the same source, the organized criminals. If it at least comes from a company, the company then is liable for its customers. They got to put all sorts of warnings on it. They have to tell you the ingredients. They have to have a pure amount of it. They're not going to cut it with detergent. So, I mean, it's complicated. There are parts of Vancouver that are basically no-go zones because of all the drug addicts out there on the street. Now they legalized all drugs. Yeah, it's not the way to do it. First, we got to legalize weed, number one. Again, it cuts into organized crime. And then you decriminalize the other stuff. You essentially make it legal. You could get like something like salvia. And again, I'm not advocating you take any of these drugs. In fact, I would say don't take any of them, including weed. But if you mitigated the damage of actually taking the drug, if you dealt with addicts and managing their addiction until they can get clean, you would do a lot better. I don't want to go down this path because I'll be here all day. Oh God, it's 3 already. I gotta buzz through the rest of these. Ardent, let everybody do all the drugs they want, but denying people the ability to defend themselves from the desperate is insane. Yes. Police asking for help and public's help to identify multiple suspects that allegedly stole dirt bikes in South Jersey. Salvia is a nightmare. Yeah, I've heard. I don't know much about it, but if you want to take it, I mean, I think that you're right. If you're an adult. But getting back to South Jersey problems, yeah, this is a South Jersey problem. Dirt bike stealing. So, could there be anything more South Jersey than, man, they keep stealing the dirt bikes, man. Yeah, it's a very South Jersey thing. So, I guess they got some video footage of the guy stealing. Oh, here they are. Oh, man. It's wrong. Wrong. This is in Cape May County, of course. Very south. Very south, for those of you who don't know. People ride these back in the pines. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. Capture them. I'm getting to all the positive articles now. Our view, up to Ocean City, its residents and visitors to end fox cycle. Here is a family of foxes. Cool, right? These, I didn't realize there's so many foxes in Ocean City, which is down near me. And you can see them on the near the boardwalk here. But salvia is the worst, says JEC. Worst trip I've ever did. Jesus. Thankfully, the high only lasts 5 minutes. Well, see, I think they would eventually get the high better if you allowed salvia and other things like it to be developed. Again, don't do them. But if you're going to do them, I say go ahead and let these companies, and if these companies make something that gives you cancer, well, you could always sue them. Anyhow, the foxes live in Ocean City, and apparently their population is connected to with the population of rabbits. Right now, the population of rabbits are exploding in South Jersey, which I can confirm. Going on walks with Joan, we see more rabbits this summer than I think I've ever seen them here. And we've always seen a decent amount of rabbits. So no lie, we were on a walk the other day, and we're in the suburbs, so it's very suburban. And we have rabbits, but we saw, like, in a short walk, maybe 3 or 4 blocks, we saw 7 rabbits at least. Yeah, all 7 different ones in different yards running around. And we don't even have the foxes. So in Ocean City, I mean, I guess they go where the rabbits are. They're cute, though, right? I mean, if you're going to have little tiny predators running around, I would like foxes. I think they're cool. Don't think they're pets, though. They are not pets. Do not pet them. Leave them alone. JC, you can buy salvia at the corner store here. I doubt anyone will want to do it twice anyway. Oh, really? I guess that is very legal. Ardent, foxes seem to be domesticating themselves, a.k.a. wolves. There's been a family on Signal Hill Street, St. John's for years. Yeah, and there's been YouTube videos of people with domesticated foxes. They do have them as pets, so I assume you're capable of domesticating them. They are very cute. But I'm saying, like, if they're in the wild, don't F with them. You know, don't immediately if you see a kit, and the little ones are called kit by itself, don't approach it. You know, if you want to help it, you know, assuming that it's not in immediate danger, you know, maybe stay away from it in your car or something and observe it, and maybe in a few minutes it'll run back into the woods or run to its mother. But you know, if you want to help it, like, call the animal shelter or something. Foxes are better than coyotes. True. Well, the only reason that I think they're better than coyotes are bigger, and they'll, you know, so they have more ambitions on bigger things to eat, whereas foxes are kind of smallish, and yeah, they can only eat so much. They're not going to take down a boar, let's say. I don't think they can. Ardent, I fed foxes by hand several times over the years. Just be wary, they seem too friendly. They may be rabid. Yeah, that's always an issue with wild animals. Any wild animal, I think, can be rabid, except maybe, like, I don't know, reptiles, turtles, and stuff like that. But definitely the mammals. No, I wouldn't pet a fox. If I had gloves on, maybe. Like if I had, like, a real tough pair of gloves on, and I was just like, oh, nice fox, you know, and I was prepared to, like, grab it and throw it away if it lunged at me. But yeah, I would never go up to a wild animal. These idiots on YouTube, they'll go right up to a fox or a raccoon, try to feed it. One time I did something really stupid. I didn't get bit or anything, but I was driving along and I saw a bunch of baby raccoons in a little, like, divot on the side of the road, and I was like, oh no, they're trapped on the side of the road. And like an idiot, I got out of my car and started to approach them, and I got about 2 feet away, and I was like, what the F am I doing? Their mother has to be around here somewhere. And I got back in the car. Yeah, don't approach wild animals is the rule. But it is cool that they're running around Ocean City. Speaking of cool animals, Ardent, FML, rabid gators sounds terrifying. Yeah, I don't think they can get rabies. I don't think they're physically capable of getting rabies. Maybe. I mean, rabies are the least of your problems. You get bit by a gator. We don't have gators in New Jersey, by the way. It's too cold. Hero dogs return home to South Jersey from Uvalde. So these were dogs from South Jersey that were sent to comfort people who had been traumatized and the children. So that's nice. Good on you, doggos. See, doggo? Why don't you do something like that? Joan, why don't you go comfort the children? You could comfort people. You're very cute. Do some charity work. Joan's very selfish. No, I'm just kidding you, Joan. I'm just kidding. Tiny house saved from wrecking ball in Wildwood. For those of you who don't know, these little tiny resorty type houses used to be fairly common down the shore way back in the day. So this was one of the surviving ones, and they were going to tear it down, but it was in nice shape, so they're going to move it instead. So they're going to save it. And yeah, you should save. I mean, this is a cool little house, right? Yeah, I would save it. I would totally want to save it. You know, if I had the money, and fix it up, put the little, see, you got a little upstairs and a little downstairs. It's cute. It's like a little ski lodge, only it's down the shore, where I assume it's like sweltering inside unless there's an air conditioning unit on it. So these were like early 60s. That you would order a kit from a catalog and you just build it yourself on land that I assume you would purchase. So this is back in the day when America was awesome. You could order this from like Sears. Oh, wait, there's more pictures. Oh, here's the inside. Okay, they're refurbishing it. All right. Nope. Commercial. All right. Oh, this is the side of the house. See, it's all roof. It's all roof. See? All the way down to the ground. No side windows. Ardent, I could build that. Yeah, I like to think I could build it too. It looks easy. I mean, it came in a kit. So I assume the kit had a bunch of instructions and you just follow the guide. Yeah, kit house. Sounds cool. Yeah, this is back in the day when you could order stuff like this from Sears. You could order a whole house. You could order a car. They'd ship you all the parts and you put it all together. Back when Sears was a thing. Sears, for some reason, didn't want to get on the internet until it was too late, I think. All right, and finally, visiting Cape May. 15 wonderful places to eat, drink, and stay. All right, we're going to end with this list. So get any questions you have or concerns, shout them out, because I'm going to wrap this up with the list. Places to stay in Cape May. This is the boarding house, very retro. This is like old school 60s, 50s kind of staying place, little motel-y type place. Looks nice though. Congress Hall. This is a very old, fancy hotel. That looks cool. That looks like an old-timey Cape May place. These are kind of places that are in Cape May, very old-timey. Usually they're not like this. The Beach Shack, very retro. Got a little Americana thing going on, but this is, typical, I'd say 70s kind of motel hotel situation for your vacation. You got the pool there. You go to the beach. Ardent, I remember the Wish book being a big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal. Totally. You could order, way back in the day, you could order a machine gun. A 45, like, Tommy gun. And in the Wish book catalog. Yeah, I wish I could shoot me some gangsters. But in South Jersey, one of the things you do is you go to the beach, hang out there all day, go in the ocean, get all salty and sandy, and then you come back to your hotel and you jump in the pool so you don't have to get a shower, right? So you rinse all the sand off you and inside your bathing suit, swim around a little bit. You could get a shower instead. A lot of people just shower, but you just jump in the pool, rinse off, dry off, poolside, and then just get changed, go out if you don't want to shower. Here's the Icona, a little fancier beach house. Beachfront luxury suites, nice. Things to do in Cape May. LOL, I wish. Ardent. Washington Street Mall. There's a bunch of stores. Oh, here's the Cape May Zoo. Independently run zoo. It's small, but it's nice. Glad to see. I was really worried the pandemic would take this out. So, hanging on. There's a giraffe eating matzah. So, obviously, he is a Jewish giraffe. Good for him. Oh, look at these guys. What are they? Some kind of monkey. Rail biking with Revolution Rail Company. What the hell's this? I've never heard of this. That's neat. You can ride the historic tracks on your own power. Look at that. Oh, wow. You can pedal around on these things on the tracks. Cool. Unless you get stuck behind some family that's taking their good old time, and then you're in a nightmare. Yeah. God. Stop taking pictures. Go. I'm bored of this already. No, I'd be into this. That looks fun. Jersey Shore alpacas. Okay, if you want to get spit on. They're okay, I guess. As long as you don't get too close to them. I think that's when they spit on you. They sense like, I could hit this guy with spit. Best restaurants. Oh, here's where I go. Here's where I thrive, or used to, until the prices went through the roof. I went to Wendy's last night just because I was so hungry. What the hell is notes anyway? Says Ardent. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, matzah. Matzah is it's unleavened bread. It's what Jewish people eat at seders. It's part of the Jewish traditions. It's certain times, certain holidays, and certain religious customs, you're not supposed to eat leavened bread, which I believe it's bread that hasn't had yeast in it and risen. So that's why it's matzah bread. It's really just like a big cracker. It's okay. You got to put something on it. It's like a dry cracker, really. All right. So the restaurant's in Cape May. Harry's Ocean's Bar and Grill. That looks nice. Ardent. LOL. I got bit by a llama once. No superpowers. Rip off. I mean, what would your superpowers be? Spitting on criminals? I've robbed a bank. Ow! Somebody spit in my eye. Harry's Ocean Bar and Grill. Haven't been to that one. It looks nice, though. I like eating outside in the nice weather. Finn's Bar and Grill. Obviously, seafood. All about seafood. Ooh, the Blue Pig. I've heard of the Blue Pig. I've heard of this place. This Passover, Arden says. Yes, Passover is definitely one of the holidays. The Blue Pig is supposed to be really good. This is in Congress Hall, the hotel I showed you earlier. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as brunch on Sunday. Yes, brunch on the weekends. That's what I heard about the Blue Pig. Ocean 7, formerly Athea's restaurant. I guess you go there to plan a heist. I've heard of Athea's, so, I mean, it's the same place. I don't know why they would change the name at a place like Cape May where it's very historic, but maybe they're trying to be hip and cool. Looks nice, though. I mean, you can go outside. George's Place. That looks hip and new. I've never heard of this place, but... Oh, it moved from its original location. A snug eatery for decades. Okay. Oh, it was featured on Guy Fieri. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. Well, that sounds good. Cheers, grab a drink in Cape May. Ardent, I've heard of the Blue Pig. Oh, really? Okay, wow. See, it's got kind of a rep. Yeah, I got to go there. Places to drink in Cape May. Cape May Winery. Heard of that, of course. Cape May Brewing Company. Okay, so you got your wine, you got your beer. Not a big drinker myself, but Gutso Brewing Company. A lot of the places in New Jersey now, they are strictly for taste testing. So they don't have any food. You got to bring your own food, which kind of a bummer. Weird rules, but what are you going to do? And that's it. That's it for Cape May. And that's it for me. I got to wrap because I desperately have to pee. And I have to go help my dad do wine. And if I don't get out the door in about 5 minutes, I'm going to be late. And he will read me the riot act. So thanks for tuning in to a Piney Podcast, guys. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts? Say them now as I'm going to leave. And I'll be doing my regular videos later. So tune in for that. We'll have a Hollywoke hot take. We'll have a news blast. If I can find some damn trailers for anything. We'll talk trailers and movies. All the usual stuff. Joan, anything further to say? No? We got to go make wine, Joan. Little wine dog is coming with me. All right, guys. Check you later. And